Final question comes from D. Thanks, D. Wishing you all the best. Wish you all the best too. Further question. Not sure if you've heard, but Peter Krause has a new series called Line of Fire, and he'll be working alongside Hope Davis. I do know that. As the 6 Degrees of Peter Krause expands, I didn't know that was a thing. Any anecdotes you can share from Allegiance or maybe 911? Both you and Kenny have now worked with Pete and Hope. Thank you. 6 Degrees of Peter Krause. I didn't know about that one. I knew about Kevin Bacon. I'll have to tell Pete that there's 6 degrees of him. Yeah, that's wild. I heard they were doing that show. And I tried really hard to get an audition on that show, but I wasn't right for it. Also, I've already played Hope's son on an NBC show. The show's on NBC, by the way. So maybe they didn't want to do that again. I love them both. I've not been in one place where both of them have been in that place with me. So I don't have any anecdotes of the two of them together. But my favorite anecdote of Pete is, you know, from the very first day I was working with him, he was so warm and friendly, and it was the pilot episode, actually. It was the very first episode of 911. You know, I just asked him about his career, and Pete said this really wonderful thing, which I have held on to ever since he told me. And for men, there's a very weird kind of casting bracket dip between the ages of like mid-30s to mid-40s, where you're too old to play the college graduate or the young professional, but you're too young to be the father figure. It's extremely difficult to work with kids below a certain age because there are so many more kind of restrictive rules about it. So kids on TV tend to be of a particular age, and then the dad has to be, I don't know, whatever Hollywood thinks is an appropriate age gap from that kid. So he said to me that as the roles start to taper off, if you can just hold out, if you can hold out until those dad jobs come around again, you're golden. Like, it's really tough advice because, you know, life is different for everyone. I've been very, very fortunate in my career that, you know, I've had enough roles that have, you know, given me a little bit of a cushion. And so this drought of work, while the industry is in such terrible ways, I've been able to weather that to this point at least. And a lot of my friends haven't. You know, people have responsibilities. You got to get on with life. Again, acting is such an unstable career path that when you start to have a family of your own, when you have responsibilities, if you've got rent or mortgage, rent, whatever it is, you've got to get the money, man. And if the money's not coming through from acting, you got to think about something else. So he said, if you can hold on until you're old enough to play those dad roles, a whole new world will open up for you. So I think about that every single day because that's part of the thing that keeps me going. And I have Pete to thank for that. And in terms of Hope Davis, I don't have a single particular anecdote from Allegiance. Allegiance now is kind of like a blur. That was such a stressful, intense project to work on. The hours were intense. We worked weekends. There was one point I worked like 3 weeks without a single day off. But Hope would always be there fighting my corner. If I looked exhausted, but I was, you know, determined to, no, I'll keep going, she would be the one to stop me and say, Gavin, take a breath, look after yourself, do something for yourself, say no to this thing, because otherwise you're going to burn out. And so she really looked after me. Her and Scott Cohen both, they really parented me on that show. You know, they were playing my parents and they parented me. I was very lucky in that respect to have them there with me, fighting my corner and looking out for me. And for that, I'll be forever grateful to Hope. Yeah, she is a wonderful, kind soul, one of a kind.